Ta-da! So welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you about matriarchy and patriarchy. Are they the two evil of nature? I think I have to talk about this because I've spoken before on matriarchy and some of the essence that it comes back when I was speaking on the role of women in African spirituality. And since then, I've noticed that this term of matriarchy is being used to somehow used against men and used to somehow dethrone men or want to dominate men and things like that, which is, it has nothing to do with that. So I'm doing this video to clarify that and maybe help some of you better understand what was given to me by Spirit and what I've come to see that yes, this clarification needed to be made because of how people are looking at patriarchy and matriarchy. To me, I've always said in all of my videos that the masculine and the feminine are complementary. There's not one without the other. They came from the same source. It was just separated coming down here, and now we can experience them separate from one another. And we need both feminine and masculine in order to exist. Literally. This is why you still need a man and you still need a woman in order to have a child. No matter what kind of form of family you have, you still need those two, and only those two, to produce a child. It's not by coincidence, it's not, it's to create and remind you of the essence that we need both the masculine and the feminine in order for life to be balanced. So if you're following Ma'at, the laws of Ma'at require balance. Not one over too much of this or too much of that. That's when you fall into imbalances. And in every society, there is both matriarchy and patriarchy in different forms and different ways, different expression of them. In all institutions, not in all institutions, but in all cultures and in all societies. And the expression of either one differs from one time to another, and sometimes also from one culture to another, depending on when you're looking at that culture. And I think, it has nothing to do with how it has been defined by outsiders looking into one particular culture. And I know that because I know when people use matriarchy does not mean that women are dominating over men and women are ruling everything. No. And I see sometimes those comments about, women are goddesses, the woman is God, the black woman is God, or things of that nature. No, the black woman cannot be God if the black man isn't God as well. Men and women are complementary. So one cannot be divine, and what is the other one? Purely human? So sometimes too much research actually kills the research, kills your ability to discern, kills your ability to just look at certain things and realize. Even in ancient Egypt, you had the pharaoh and he had his queen. It wasn't a matter, he wasn't oppressing the queen. it's ridiculous. And it wasn't a patriarchy, it wasn't a matriarchy. They were both ruling together. One is ruling from behind the throne and one is ruling from in front of the throne, sitting on the throne. And I see this kind of wave where women want to be in front, but not just in front, they want to be in front of men. And I don't know what it is bringing and giving them, because most of women who are in front of men are then depleted, exhausted, have all kind of complaints, anxiety, depression, and lack of energy, all kind of different things. And yet they still claim that they want to be in that spot. It's just to say that the matriarchy is not there to dominate, for women to dominate men. The matriarchy is one way of looking at the essence of femininity and what some of the roles of femininity and women are in different societies. That's it. It is not in relation to men. It's not in relation to a power struggle with men. In most society, women live longer than men. So that means at some point, there will be the eldest person in the community will be a woman, which will make her the matriarch. The matriarch is often referred to be the oldest woman who's around. She's the one who's going to have the utmost respect And she's the one because she has the most experience. She's been the longest around. She's probably seen it all. There's nothing new that you can come up and tell her that may surprise her. That may be nothing that she's ever known or suspected existed. That's why. But she's not there to dominate the younger man or to dominate the men that are closer to her age. That has nothing to do with that. On the contrary, most matriarchs are there to serve, are there to provide for the community, are there to speak, are there to help, guide, are there to transmit wisdom. The position of power is one that requires a lot of leadership and that requires to take on a lot of responsibilities. And responsibilities that have to be managed in a way where the children are being taken care of. And I think that's the thing that's getting lost in translation. While you're fighting the patriarchy, who's taking care of the children, of your children? While you're fighting the patriarchy, who's teaching your son that he has a value, that he has value? And I think it's important even for men to realize this, because I've seen men say, oh, you are God, you're the one who's doing everything, you should be. No, women are not there to do everything. That's why you're a man. You're supposed to be complementary to her. She's not supposed to do everything. She's supposed to do just her part. That's it. And I think we've sometimes ingrained in that. When women start saying, oh, I'm independent. From what are you independent from? Exactly. Because I don't understand. I don't see what you're independent from. You're still depending on the system to get paid and to get money from the community, so to get money from the balance in society. So what are you independent from? No, you're just putting more things on your plate to do. You're still gonna have to take care of your home, still gonna have to take care of your children, and then on top of it, you're gonna have the additional thing that you want to do instead of a career and all of that. So it's not necessarily something that's going to be beneficial to you if it's not in accord with who you are, and the things that you're doing are not aligned with what you want and making you feel in a way that's making you feel fulfilled. And if you were fulfilled, you wouldn't be on the street, complaining, demonstrating, and screaming, and feeling depleted every single day. No, and the patriarchy is not doing anything to you. No. You can say that some individuals have hurt you, yes. The same way some women have hurt some men have hurt some women. Men are just not out there writing blogs about it and making movies and exalting and pointing fingers. But to say that men don't have a place, or that men have to acquire feminine quality, no, you're not making a service to women, and you're not making a service to men at all. This is not going to help. On the contrary, it's going to create even more imbalances. And Ma'at requires balance anyways. You require a man in order for you to have a child, in order for the community to continue. You can't erase men. Men are not your subservient. And any man who's thinking that he's less than a woman and that the woman is above him is probably not a very masculine man. Okay? Even the person who really, really loves you knows that he deserves you. That's why you're so good to him. Otherwise, he shouldn't be getting a woman that doesn't love him, that doesn't show him appreciation as well. This whole paradigm about transactional love, where I'm paying for her to look good on my arm, or I'm paying for her and that's why she's staying with me. This is old. Aren't you tired of that? When people refer to that, that's really people who live in the Western ways, where you're just like, okay, you make the money, you give me the lifestyle I want, then we can have a relationship, we can have a family based on that, whether there is love or not. No, that is not a fulfilling way to be, because you deserve to love. And sometimes I see this often, where people will settle in all kind of arrangements just because they think they may not meet somebody who will love them or who they will love as well. And for me, I'm sorry, but I rather wait. I cannot be with somebody who's going to pay me to pretend that I love them. And every day I'm going to have to go on and put on the makeup, because I'm going to be really acting all day and all night. So, to go back to the topic at hand, complementarity. Matriarchy and patriarchy are complementary. They're just manifestation, divine manifestation of the divine feminine and divine masculine. Both of them need to be respected, both of them need to be honored. The masculine is as important as the feminine. And especially for women who want to be feminine, who want to stay feminine, you are not going to accept or settle for a man that is not masculine. A man who doesn't want to be masculine, who wants to put all of the weight on you because you can do it all, you can carry everything, you can do everything, right? You're independent or whatever that means. No. I've never heard a man tell me that. No, I'm sorry. Maybe that's the kind of, if you are the kind of woman that you want your man to tell you that, hey man, you can go to work, I'm just going to sit at home here, relax, watch TV, play video games, and you go to work, come home, you cook, you take care of the kids, and I'll be relaxing in the bath, the tub, or whatever. No! That's absurd. And that will leave you depleted. Because that's not, it's leaving you depleted because that's not the way it was meant to be. A lot of people tend to think that African traditional culture or practices, oh, this is so old, or anything. But it's like that everywhere in all of the indigenous cultures. Every indigenous culture have gender roles. Every indigenous culture has masculine attributes, feminine attributes. All of them. And it's not a coincidence. It's not something that people just came up randomly to oppress a specific group or another one. No. It's because they figured out this is an efficient way to separate, to attribute roles so that we can better function as a society. And within that, there is a paradigm, there is some room for shift because some women are going to become soldiers, some men are going to like cooking and all that stuff. There is a certain flexibility, so it's not rigid. Some men can become nurse, some men can become chef and cook and do all those different things. But it gives you a benchmark. It gives you a line where you say, okay, this is what the society is putting forward. And you can say, I can align with that, or I can make my own, or I can twist and think things that will work with my own family, and so forth and so on. So it's not being imposed on you, it's simply a proposition. And most people follow that proposition because sometimes when you go and you try to do on your own path, on your own thing, you end up far over there, depleted, anxious, and you run back. And sometimes you run back when it's too late, when you're already too depleted to do anything else. So save yourself some trouble. Use your discernment no matter what ideas is being presented before you. Use your discernment no matter who wrote it, no matter who's telling you, whether it is even your parents or whether it is some eminent scholars who received a lot of prizes and whatever. It doesn't matter. Whether even it is somebody who's like hurting, crying, and telling you it is that the patriarchy oppressed them. No, it's not because they're hurt that you have to believe that. And it's as simple as looking around and seeing that there's plenty of men out there to serve you and help you and help other women. So it's not a matter of a collective of the masculine doing this. It's not because one individual person hurts you that all men are like that. Or it's because one woman hurts you that all women are like that. That's a ridiculous way of thinking. That's a ridiculous way of thinking. Are you saying because a child, was nasty to you that all children are like that? You see how ridiculous that kind of reasoning starts to be. So I encourage you to just use your discernment no matter who's speaking to you and what they're talking to you about. And stop focusing on your pain. Sometimes it's just a matter of letting go your pain. That person didn't want to be with you. Yes, and so what? Good for them, so they can be with the person who actually wants to be with them and the person they want to be with. So that you can do the same and be with somebody who wants to be with you. Okay, stop always all the time using your pain to justify all kind of theory and to put in your energy whenever you have something like that presented before you. Oh yes, I remember this, I remember. No, this has nothing to do with that. Use your own discernment. Allow a child, a girl and a boy to grow up without having adults telling them that their gender or their group is being demonized for something he has even yet to do, something he has even yet to understand what's going on. And he's hearing you. When you're talking to your friend, it doesn't need to be in your presence. He's hearing that. She's hearing that as well. And this is how you are creating this vicious cycle, and you're having those kids grow up and be worse and make the situation worse. Just because you couldn't use your own discernment. You could even choose to focus your energy into these children, the children that you do have, to nourish them, to help them become better adults, to give them the love that you didn't receive, or that man that hurt you didn't receive. And sometimes it's that. Sometimes I receive email of people talking about they're looking for their purpose all over the place, when the purpose that they actually have is right there in their own home, taking care of that child, touching the heart of that child, teaching that child how to love, so that child can get out there and be one better man, one better woman. Sometimes it's not about going out there and fighting the institutions and demonstrating and yelling stronger than everyone else and posting as much as you can post to denounce this and denounce that. Sometimes it's about just doing your own part. Your part as the mother of this child or those children. That's your part. Nourishing them, loving them, explaining to them that they are not evil. They are just children. And they shouldn't even be burdened with all of this conversation about matriarchy and patriarchy, doing this and doing that. You know, sometimes I find it really ridiculous that the same woman who will say she's oppressed by the patriarchy is running to the patriarchy to ask for child support. Don't you think it's funny? The same system that's oppressing you, but you going for them to help? It doesn't make any sense. If it was oppressing you, why would they help you? If the patriarchy was created and meant to oppress women, why would they help you with granting you child support? No, they will let those men run rampant. That's why I'm saying that it's not the case. And to stop feeding those ideas. Because every time you're supporting that, discussing that with your friends in kind of different ways, you are adding to that negative energy. And that energy is bubbling up, and then manifesting, causing certain people to do certain things. Because sometimes you go and watch interviews of men who are in jail for rape and all kind of sexual assault and all of that. Listen to some of the stuff that they're saying. Sometimes they say that they don't even know why they did it. And for you, it sounds unbelievable, right? But you're thinking that all of the negativity that you and these other groups are building up, it's not going to disappear. It's going to go somewhere. And a lot of us cannot transmute all of that nonsense. And so it's going to manifest. It's going to manifest at some point. And for people talking about servitors, egregores, and all those different stuff, those are concrete manifestation of some of that. So I think it's like, take responsibility for your own words, for the negative energy that you create, because you just don't understand that the negativity you create is going to affect your own children. By you not being there, by you dragging them to some demonstration because you want them to learn something, instead of just taking time to educate and love them. And I'm not saying that to kind of like say it from a kind of I don't know, blaming kind of way, pointing fingers. A lot of times some people, you can't even tell them, you can't even underline things that are negative without them feeling like, oh, I'm being judged, no, stop that. There's no victim. I'm not blaming you. I'm just letting you know that there's another way of seeing things that may be a little bit more beneficial. And even myself, there are certain things that I didn't see before, that I had to take step backs, meditate, the different things, look around, observe, to see how those different things are congruent together and making matter worse. And I'm not talking here about, addressing somebody who's been raped and things like that. I'm talking about the little talks that you're doing here and there. Like, you can't help yourself when somebody says something that you have to add something negative about your ex, something negative about the father of your children, and you think the child is not listening or is not understanding that. Making general assumptions towards all men because of the person who hurt you in front of the children and all these different things. Those are the things that you can look at and objectively, not even using this discernment, objectively you can see that this is not something that's beneficial, and you can do better than that. We can all do better than that. So this is for all of us, me included in that. I think if you're reaching and you want to do better, you have to open yourself to be corrected, to be guided, and to let people show you so that you can assess, is this something actually that's negative? And assess that with discernment. Assess it with discernment, and then choose as you please. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.